David Recardian theory of economic rent. David Recardian theory of economic rent. So according to David Ricardo, economic rent is nothing but that portion of the produce, which is paid by the tenant to the landowner for the use of some original and indestructible powers of the land is called rent. Here generally tenant means the farmer who takes land from the landowner. He is the landowner. This is the land. This is taken by a farmer for the purpose of cultivation on leased basis. So he is called tenant. Tenant is the owner of the land. So he takes the land from the landowner and uses it for cultivation purpose. Then he produces different crops, of course. But how he is able to produce different crops means by the use of some original and indestructible powers of that land. Original and indestructible powers means fertility of the soil. This is used by the tenant and crops are produced. Therefore, tenant has to pay a portion of that produce to the owner. Why? Because for the use of some original and indestructible powers. That portion of the produce paid by the tenant to the owner is called rent according to David Ricardo. And David Ricardo says that rent is the differential surplus. Rent is the differential surplus. Differential surplus means here according to David Ricardo, rent arises because of the differences in the fertility of soil. All the lands will not have the same level of fertility. Some are high fertile lands, some are low fertile lands, some are less fertile lands. Some are high fertile lands, some are low fertile lands, some are less fertile lands. So because of the differences in the fertility of soils, rent arises. Therefore, David Ricardo says rent is the differential surplus. So in order to make this concept very clear for us, he has given one example. According to his example, there is one country newly formed, and in that country there are three grades of lands. A grade, B grade and C grade lands. A grade lands are high fertile lands. B grade lands are low fertile lands. C grade lands are less fertile lands. Here a group of settlers will go to that country and will try to cultivate A grade lands first. Then the next group of people will go and they also cultivate B grade lands. And afterwards next group of people will go and cultivate C grade lands. And all the groups of people who are going and cultivating lands spend same amount of rupees or same amount of money for the cultivation of these lands. Moreover, it is assumed that there is perfect competition. Here it is assumed that there is a perfect competition, and this is applicable in the long period. So when there is a perfect competition, there the price of that commodity will be equal to the cost of production. So based on these assumptions, we are going to understand how the rent arises because of the differences in the fertility of land according to David Ricardo. Right? Here I have already drawn the table. Here this is the schedule which explains about the Recardian theory of rent. Here first column shows grades of lands A, B, C. Second column shows cost of production. Third one output in bags. Fourth one price in rupees, and the value of output next column shows. Then other column shows the rent or surplus available in physical form, that means in bags and in terms of rupees. Then here three grade lands are there: A land, A grade, B grade and C grade. Here it is assumed that there is a perfect competition. Therefore it is assumed that same amount of money is spent for the cultivation of these lands. So A grade lands are first cultivated by the first group of people who went there. So 6,000 rupees are spent and they produced 250 bags. For example, paddy, they produced 250 bags of paddy, right? Then what is the price for each bag? Means 6,000 by 250 bags. So the price of each bag or the cost of production of each bag is rupees 24. It is assumed that there is a perfect competition. Therefore the price of this each bag is equal to cost of production. So cost of production is rupees 24. The price is also assumed as rupees 24. So 24 into 250 bags, then the value of output is 6,000 only. Value of output is 6,000. Then coming to B grade lands. So next group of people went there and they also started cultivating, but they cultivate B grade lands. They spend the same amount of money, rupees 6,000, but because of the differences in the fertility of these lands, they produce only 200 bags. As A grade lands are high fertile lands, they produce 250 bags of paddy. B grade lands are low fertile lands, so the people can produce only 200 bags. Then the cost of production of each bag is 6,000 by 200 bags give 30 rupees. So the price for each bag is rupees 30. So 30 into 200, 6,000. The next group of people will also go there and they start cultivating C grade lands by spending same amount of money, rupees 6,000. But as C grade lands are very less fertile lands, they can produce only 150 bags of paddy. Then the cost of production for each bag is 6,000 by 150 gives 40 rupees. So 40 rupees is considered as price for each bag. 40 rupees into 150 bags gives 6,000 rupees, right? So here the value of output on each grade of land 6,000, 6,000, 6,000.